Good morning to everyone in Western Canada, and good afternoon to those joining us in Central and Eastern Canada. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Peter Paul. I will be your moderator today for this HireImmigrants.ca webinar. HireImmigrants.ca is an initiative of Allies, which is a joint project of Maitrey and the J.W. McConnell Family Foundation. HireImmigrants.ca provides employers with tools and resources necessary to help them source, recruit, and retain skilled immigrant talent. Where we want to welcome you to today's webinar. We conduct webinars regularly like this one to share promising practices and to facilitate learning across different regions from different sectors and to take good ideas from one part of the country to the other. So today's 60-minute webinar focuses on paid internships for internationally trained professionals. We'll talk about how they are a low-risk strategy to bring global talent to your doorstep. Internships offer businesses a cost-effective way for you to test out potential new hires, to test their fit, their expertise, their competence. Further, having skilled immigrant interns can help you as companies connect with new markets overseas by leveraging some of the connections and insights that these particular newcomers can share with your company. Today we're also going to hear about an innovative partnership between Career Edge and RBC and how this partnership is helping other businesses in the Greater Toronto Area by assisting them access skilled immigrant talent through paid internships. We're looking forward to hearing from our excellent panel about this partnership and the impact that it's having on various companies. Today we're joined by employers from different sectors across Canada, from different size companies. We also have some participants joining us from regulatory bodies. We have immigrant employment councils and organizations that serve newcomers. And we also have representatives from government. Federal, provincial, and municipal level governments are represented today. And we're being joined from participants across the country. And we also welcome a few people from overseas, from the United States, and a few people who've joined us from Europe as well. So that's very exciting for us. As with the previous Hire Immigrants webinars, this presentation will be recorded and made available online for those who are unable to join us today. Or if you would like to review or share part of this presentation with your colleagues, you will receive an email about when the presentation will be up on HireImmigrants.ca, so you can share it with your colleagues and others who may be interested as well. So today we're going to be in conversation with our panelists, Mark Appleton, who is the Director of Business Credit Process Transformation with RBC. We're going to kick things off with Naguib Gouda, who is the President of Career Edge Organization. And we're also going to hear from Miriam Rezai, who's a Technical Director with C&T Steel Reinforcing Company, who has also placed interns in their company. And we're also going to hear directly from an intern about her experiences. Nadia Samji will join us and talk about her experience working at WWF Canada. We'll ask our panelists to respond to some of your questions during the Q&A session. We want to make sure that we leave sufficient time so that you get a chance to have your questions answered during that time. So before we dive into the actual discussion, I'd like to ask participants who are with us today a quick poll question, which is now going to come on your screen. And maybe you could answer this poll question very quickly, and then we'll get a couple of quick comments from Naguib before we go into it. And once we answer the poll question, then I will introduce the panel to you, and then we could go right into it. Or as you're answering the poll questions, let me just introduce the panel to you. Naguib Gouda brings prominent C-level executive expertise to his role as the President of Career Edge Organization. He has held executive positions with the Alzheimer's Society of Canada, the Ontario Medical Association, York University, the Bank of Montreal, and Manulife. He's also held notable volunteer positions with organizations such as the Toronto Distress Center, the Learning Partnership, and the Schulich School of Business. In his role as CEO, or as president of the Career Edge organization, Naguib is dedicated to helping new graduates, including those with self-declared disabilities, and internationally qualified professionals successfully launch and advance their careers through paid internships. We're also really thrilled to have Mark Appleton from RBC join us. He is the senior manager at RBC. Through business lending, Mark has been supporting small and medium-sized businesses for almost 2 decades. 3 years ago, he joined the RBC Canadian Banking Diversity Leadership Council, where he joined other RBC leaders as a committed proponent of diversity within RBC, with its clients and with its suppliers. Mark is the lead on the RBC Career Edge Bridge Associate Host Program that we'll hear more about today. Mark is passionately supportive of this unique and innovative program, as well as the overall mandate of Career Edge organization. As a result, Mark has even joined the board of Career Edge organization in 2013. So welcome, Mark. And we're also going to hear from Miriam Rizai, who is technical director at C&T Reinforcing Steel in Toronto. She received her bachelor's degree in civil engineering in 1995 in Iran before moving to Canada in 1999. So she's a newcomer to Canada herself. She found her first professional career at C&T Reinforcing as a rebar detailer in the year 2000. She leads a team currently of about 20 engineers, including detailers, estimators, and project managers. She's been involved in hiring and coaching over 20 internationally trained engineers. So welcome to our distinguished panelists. And we see that we've got quite a few responses for our poll. It appears that there's a slight edge to those who have used internships as a way to meeting their staffing needs. So it's a pretty even split, but Naguib, I'll turn it over to you, and you can take it away from here.
Thank you very much, Peter, and thank you to all the attendees as well as to my fellow panelists for being here today. My fellow panelists are also amazing partners of Career Edge, and we appreciate that tremendously. Just a comment in terms of the poll, those of us who have used internships before, clearly we're very excited because I saw the number skyrocket at the beginning, and then those who have not used interns admitted they hadn't, and that number got smaller and smaller. So I'm guessing I'm speaking partly to the converted and partly those who need to learn more, and I look forward to that. If we go to my first slide, I want to begin by framing who Career Edge is, and that way we can put the rest of this presentation into some context for those of you who are not familiar with us. Career Edge is a not-for-profit organization. We call ourselves a self-sustaining social enterprise, and that is our way of saying that we exist for a reason of social responsibility, but we receive no government funding and we're not a charity. We were formed back in 1996 at a time when youth and other unemployment and underemployment was skyrocketing. 500,000 Canadian graduates were unemployed or underemployed at the time. And we've remained a staunch advocate for paid internships since that time when we were first born. In the 17 years since we began, founding organizations have been joined by over 1,000 additional employers, and together we've provided close to 12,000 recent university and college grads, including those with self-declared disabilities, and internationally qualified professionals with career-launching paid internship opportunities. That's where we come from. Our unique paid internship program offers a low-risk and cost-effective employment solution to employers. Organizations, as Peter mentioned, have the opportunity to assess interns' skills and their fit with absolutely no obligation beyond the agreed-upon paid internship period. We at Career Edge streamline the recruiting process. We provide employers with qualified interns and save them time and money while offering access to excellent talent year-round. Again, our record speaks for itself, placing 12,000 interns. Our 1,000 or so partners would not keep coming back to us if that was not talent that they thought was excellent. We do rely on business-related successes and strategies to fulfill our social mandate of connecting very highly motivated, well-qualified talent with employers of all types and all sizes, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Our internship registrants, or job seekers, on the other hand, like us because they have the opportunity to participate in a level playing field when competing with other job candidates, and to use that experience that they gained during their internship as a springboard to a successful career. They leverage the extended network they've acquired during their internship, and off they go. So the next slide, please, Peter. What we're dealing with here is the catch-22. The catch-22 is all about no jobs for people without Canadian experience and no Canadian experience without a job. And so how do you break that cycle? Paid internships enable those who face those barriers to employment to gain that meaningful work and make sure it's congruent with their field of study and area of interest. And it provides employers with the chance to assess those candidates for fit in the workplace environment before anybody makes a commitment. Paid internships also ensure equal access to employment opportunities. It allows those facing barriers to get a foot in the door and build on that network, as I said before. It safeguards corporate reputation and communities served, plus it helps attract and retain good talent. It helps those facing barriers to employment to fast-track their professional advancement, becoming prosperous, tax-paying citizens now and in the future. And for organizations, it offers a competitive advantage and access to cultural insights and to diversity. There's been a big debate recently about paid versus unpaid internships, and I'm sure many of you have seen that in the media. Both paid and unpaid internships are regulated by Employment Standards Act, and really there's very limited exceptions for unpaid internships, typically restricted to vocational training for colleges and university students, and employers receive little to no benefit from unpaid internships. The Employment Standards Act stipulates for unpaid internships, it has stipulations put in place to prevent the exploitation of workers and to encourage fairness in the labor market. Unpaid internships, we believe, limit the opportunities to particular socioeconomic classes. Simply put, only those who can afford to work without pay have the chance to gain experience, and so it excludes much of the market in terms of who needs internships. And a person who performs work for another person, company, or organization is technically considered an employee. So all employees are entitled to the rights stipulated by the Employment Standards Act, including minimum wage, vacation, and overtime, just to name a few. In terms of socioeconomic sustainability, the effective structure and legal implementation of internships within Canadian businesses bridges the gap between school and work for young people struggling to enter the workforce, as well as to new immigrants striving to relaunch their careers in Canada. So it promotes a succession planning solution to ensure that solid pipeline of talent to replace workers leaving the workforce temporarily due to things like leaves of absence or mat leaves, etc., or permanently, as is the case in retirement and as we will see as the baby boomer generation begins to retire. If we go to the next slide, Peter, what this slide shows are organizations that have joined forces with Career Edge to help launch their careers. You can see just how multi-sector this slide is. If you look at the IT sector, telecom sector, you see organizations like Bell and TELUS. In the energy sector, and we have many partners, Hydro One's an example. GE is what we call a globally integrated enterprise. In terms of government, we have very strong relationships with the Ontario Public Service, as well as the City of Toronto, the City of Mississauga, the City of Markham, just to name a few. In finance, the Royal Bank of Canada, the TD Bank, and the CIBC and Scotiabank are all very strong partners of Career Edge. In health sciences, St. Mike's Hospital is one of our strongest partners. Professional services includes organizations such as Deloitte and Accenture. And in the not-for-profit, we have organizations such as the World Wildlife Fund, and as we heard, you'll be listening to Nadia later on speak about her experience. Next slide, Peter. In 2012, an amazing program was launched, and we have been working with RBC since then to continue this program. This program is called the Career Edge RBC Associate Host Program. It's an innovative partnership between RBC, Canadian Banking, and Career Edge, and it offers subsidized internship programs to small and medium-sized commercial businesses in the GTA. The initiative to connect select RBC commercial clients considered associate hosts in this program to diverse quality talent, in this case internationally qualified professionals. So who can participate, or who participates? Basically, these small, medium-sized GTA-based commercial banking clients currently looking for talents to grow their business and who happen to be large enough to offer meaningful learning and work opportunities to interns, but small enough to require support related to the attraction, recruitment, and development of underemployed, underutilized, and diverse talent. These are organizations that demonstrate a commitment to diversity and inclusion, potentially reflected in internal initiatives including community involvement, a corporate value statement, a commitment or interest in developing inclusive practices on their website, and hiring processes that encourage diversity. These organizations have the ability to assign an intern, a coach, or a mentor through their 6-month internship program, and they agree to provide feedback on the overall program, experience, benefits derived, and the value of the RBC commitment to this program to their clients from their perspective. So this program is a win-win-win-win initiative. For the RBC, the win is that they have the opportunity to further demonstrate support for diversity and to address Canada's productivity gap, and to support and add value to business communities they serve. To the small and medium enterprises, the win is that they receive financial support to hire well-qualified talent and to ensure diversity, and heighten productivity in the workplace while mitigating the risks that they might have in terms of direct hiring. For ourselves as Career Edge, the win is that it provides us with a strong channel of connection between businesses and interns. And finally, for the interns, the win, needless to say, is their ability to gain meaningful Canadian work experience consistent with their education and skills, breaking the catch-22 and helping them launch their careers from either unemployment or underemployment and survival jobs to a career path that matters. Next slide, Peter. What this slide shows is how this program works in terms of pricing. The RBC has agreed to fund the equivalent of 4 of 6 months of the internship, plus all of our program-related costs. So the cost that is carried by RBC is approximately $16,300. The associate host, or the small and medium enterprise, agrees to fund the equivalent of 2 months of the internship program, and that adds up to about $5,500. The financial implications for that associate host ensures serious commitment, or skin in the game, to the internship experience, as well as encouraging those organizations to be timely in completing the intern hiring process to put diverse, qualified talent to work. The next slide shows what the guidelines are for participating in this program. To participate in the RBC Career Edge Associate Host Program, the client or host organizations need to meet the following guidelines. Firstly, they have a current professional level hiring requirement. The current hiring requirement should fit with the available Career Edge functional area sample roles. Number 2 is they demonstrate a commitment to diversity and inclusion, which may be reflected in initiatives. These might include a community involvement, a corporate value statement, a commitment to inclusive practices on their website, and hiring processes that encourage diversity. Thirdly, as I said before, the ability to assign a mentor or coach. Fourthly, to have a designated HR representative available to support intern selection. They also need to agree to fund the equivalent of the final 2 months of the intern stipend, to consent to providing a meaningful work experience for our interns for a 6-month term, and to complete the documentation at the end of the program. And most importantly, I would say, to provide feedback on the program, the benefits both to RBC, to Career Edge, and to the intern. Now, the next slide very briefly talks about our candidate selection and screening process without reading everything on the slide to you. Really what I need to say is that all Career Edge internship candidates first and foremost are required to complete an online application form requiring them to answer a series of qualifying questions which enable us here at Career Edge to determine their eligibility for our internship programs. For internationally qualified professionals, there's an added layer of screening that helps us determine their English language ability, their business communication skills, their credentials as it pertains to their level of education, the equivalency of their degree equal to Canadian criteria, their ability to work legally in Canada, their recent work experience from outside of Canada, and their interview readiness. So that is what we do here at Career Edge before you see these candidates. The next slide, and that would be my last slide, Peter, talks about the opportunities and the challenges that we have seen. One of the challenges that we constantly face as an organization is the balancing between supply and demand. So we are looking at all times at the balance between making sure we have sufficient number of internship opportunities available by employers, but also building and replicating that internship model with other partners while all at the same time finding suitable talent. Increasing awareness of career internship programs is both a challenge and an opportunity, and this webinar is a huge opportunity in terms of doing that. Those of you who have not heard of us or who do not understand the benefits of this program cannot help us achieve our social mandate until you are aware of what we do. And then finally, it's about leveraging the benefits of employer career edge associate host of the associate host program. So, you know, what we're looking at here is showcasing leadership. This is a unique opportunity for employers to demonstrate their leadership and be recognized for supporting effective workplace integration of underemployed, qualified, internationally qualified professionals, to be responsible for directly connecting diverse quality talent to employers looking for a low-risk, cost-effective recruitment solution, to create the opportunity to be showcased as an employer of choice to the over 7,000 or so job-ready Career Edge registrants, as well as the nearly 12,000 alumni who have graduated from our program, and to showcase your business's leadership through various marketing, communications, and government relations initiatives, which would further enhance your organization's reputation as a business leader. I think I will stop at that, Peter. Maybe the other things I could quickly say, just 3 more bullets. One is that this program also enriches goals to grow business opportunities with small, medium businesses. It leverages the goodwill created from sponsored intern experiences and creates loyal customers in the future who become alumni. And finally, it's about competitive advantage. It's about keeping pace with the competition that's leveraging this initiative with their own clients. So on that note, I'll turn it over to you, Peter, and look forward to answering some questions and having a dialogue with my fellow panelists.
Perfect. Thanks, Naguib. That was a great overview of the concept of internships and how it works, and also specifically about the partnership and a few details about the associate host program. I'm sure we'll come back to a lot more of the nuts and bolts in the conversation that we have, and also in the Q&A section. I'll turn now to Mark and just ask, from RBC's perspective, how did this partnership evolve, and what have been some of the benefits that you've seen? Naguib alluded to a few of them earlier, but you know, from RBC's perspective, how does this look?
Thanks, Peter. Well, RBC and Career Edge organization have a long-standing relationship. It stems back to the 1996 birth of Career Edge organization, as Naguib stated it. In fact, RBC is the largest host employer to interns at Career Edge, and we hire approximately 60 interns per year. This idea came up in 2011. In alignment with our own commitment to diversity, we set out on a path to enable our clients to realize the benefits of diversity. So in support of this, it was just a seemingly natural extension of our long and trusted relationship with Career Edge. In terms of benefits, there is no financial benefit to RBC. For us, it's an opportunity to help new Canadians and help RBC business clients, and for lack of a better term, to put our money where our mouth is. We're relentless advocates of diversity, and this is just one of the ways that we've decided to prove it. The program's aligned with our vision, our values, our objectives. It's also a competitive differentiator for us, and the clients that have leveraged the program think it's fantastic, and perhaps most importantly for our clients, it's a low-cost, low-risk introduction to Career Edge organization to support their ongoing needs, not just the one-time program.
Okay. Perfect.
And
Thanks,
Marcus,
Yeah,
Naguib, you were being modest in terms of what RBC accomplished with us this past year. We actually together placed close to 80 interns, and we thank you for that.
wow, terrific. Miriam, let me turn to you. As a medium-sized business, what are some of the challenges that you may have faced in finding or hiring talent to meet your business needs, and how did this idea of internships help you meet some of those needs?
Thank you, Peter. Good afternoon, fellow panelists, and welcome attendees. The most job posting that we put in the public posting, they attract different kind of experiences. They may not exactly match with our needs, and some of the applicants from public job postings usually have similar jobs, and they are looking for higher compensations, where the career edge applicants are pre-screened and more suitable for interviews.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good, good. And Mark, just to build on what Miriam said, from what you hear from some of the others who participated in this program, how is this a cost-effective option for these businesses? And do you hear them recommending this to other programs as well? And then we'll come back to Miriam as well.
Yes, certainly, and even not talking about the RBC Career Bridge Associate Host Program, just talking about the connection to Career Edge and the use of interns and internships. I think it's both effective and cost-effective, and that's what we've heard from our clients. Career Edge organization, which obviously is just one entity in the country that has a talented pool of internationally qualified interns. It's a great pool, and it provides a crucial first break for those interns in the Canadian job market. The add-on to that with the RBC Career Bridge Associate Host Program and our financial support for the first-time hire for our clients is just making it all the more enticing. But if they don't already know about Career Edge organization, it provides that introduction, the knowledge and the experience with them so that they continue on with more. And I don't know if Miriam's going to say it, but her organization, C&T Steel, is a fantastic example of how this has worked, and Miriam has hired several interns from Career Edge since our introduction of them to the organization.
Right. Miriam, could you just talk about the people you've hired and what kinds of skills they bring to, and how this might work for other businesses as well?
Yes, as you know, our business is reinforcing steel, which is tied to civil engineering. So there are a great pool of candidates with civil engineering background and similar experience. Not exactly, none of them know the software that we use here. It's very specialty part of the construction sector. And we train and it's great. Actually, I like the experience.
Okay, very good. Just to build on what Miriam was saying, Naguib, from your perspective, could you give us a sense of how successful this program has been in terms of both the numbers of how many people have been placed as interns, the kind of various roles that they're playing, and also how many people have been hired as a consequence, if you have those numbers, of sense of how successful it's been?
Absolutely, Peter. I often get asked how we measure success at Career Edge, and we really measure it in two ways. One is the number of people we're able to help by helping them launch their career, but two is the impact that the internship has had on launching their careers. And so to answer your question in terms of how successful this program has been, so far since we launched this program in 2012, 30 businesses have signed up with Career Edge's Associate Host Program, 3/4 of whom have now hired interns. Over 20 internationally qualified professionals have relaunched their careers in Canada with the support of this program, including Nadia Samji, who you'll hear from in a few minutes. And the total number of interns hired through Career Edge's internship program for IQP's internationally qualified professionals, this is since 2003, so if I remind you, the organization was born in 1996, but our program to help internationally qualified professionals has been around since 2003. We have placed 2,087 interns in that time. Of those 2,087, more than half of those, 53%, have been hired by the host during or immediately after their internship, with another 25% finding work elsewhere within 12 months. Retention is also really important, Peter. Of the 53% who were hired by the host employer during or immediately after their internship, 79% of those remained with the organization 1 year later. So the numbers work, the launch to their careers works, and the retention also works.
Perfect. Mark, anything you might add to this as well?
Well, from our perspective, I'd say that the program has been extremely successful. As Naguib said, we started in 2012. Our goal was to place 10 interns per year with an RBC business client. We've achieved that each year so far. We're up to 23, I think, that have been hired to date. We hear from our clients that they think that Career Edge as an organization is great, great support for their business, and they're just amazed at the intern pool and the quality of that pool. And they're also struck by our commitment to diversity through this program. Naguib mentioned 53% of interns staying on, and our statistic on that is the thing that strikes me the most, which is, and it's something we didn't even count on, it wasn't a measure of success for this program that the interns stay on with the host employer, but our number is 90%. Of the 23 interns, those who have completed their internship, 90% have been hired permanently by our client and their host, which I think is extraordinary, and I think it speaks to the strength of the candidate pool at Career Edge, and it speaks to the desire of Canadian businesses for that experienced talent.
Terrific. Naguib, if I could turn to you for the next question to get your experience in working with the internationally trained professionals at Career Edge. And then maybe, Miriam, we can hear from your perspective as the medium-sized business that has placed some of these folks as interns in your organization. What have been your experience in working with these internationally trained professionals? So maybe Naguib first, and then we'll go to Miriam.
I'm not sure what I can add to what I've already said, Peter, but my experience in terms of working with these folks is that they are unbelievably highly qualified. They come with a minimum of 3 years experience, but most in our database have 10, 15 years experience. They are multi-degreed. They have very transferable skills that they are ready to offer to organizations in Canada upon arrival. They're unbelievably eager. They're also very mobile. They go where the jobs are. And so although we are a GTA-based organization, these folks, the internationally qualified and trained professionals, regardless of where they have walked into our country, are willing to go to where the work is.
Terrific. And Miriam, your experience in having these folks placed at C&T Steel?
I can only add to what Naguib says. They are amazingly talented. They are the most open-minded and the most talented people from all over the world coming to Canada after a few years of screening. So there is no doubt about their talents. The thing is, we need to customize our training or coaching for them. They come with different level of strength. Some of them have amazing technical skills and maybe not amazing conversational skills, slangs. I can share my very first week of work that I was an immigrant starting job. Do you have time for that?
Sure.
Okay. I remember the very first week of my own work in construction. I was detailing, and I was very happy that I'm selected for a seated job where I can work with drawings that I love and I know how to work with them. But when I received the call from site, I wasn't able to recognize the conversation. I wasn't even able to know if the person is talking about the city, the name of the project, name of a person. So I was clueless about some information that if someone tell you Ajax, right now immediately you know it's a city. But at that time I had no idea. I thought Ajax maybe it's name of a person. So I was all puzzled and asking, can you explain? And then I figured out. At the end, I received a phone call from their boss that this person is doing a damn good job, and I didn't even know what damn means. I still didn't know if it means good job or bad. So I went to the supervisor and said, oh, no, you're doing good. So that was my experience.
Okay. Very good. I just, we are just a little behind time, so I'll move to the next question, and maybe feel free to jump in later, all three of you. But for those who are on the call, who are maybe thinking about participating in similar internship programs, what advice would you give? And maybe we'll start with Mark, we'll go to Naguib, and then Miriam.
Okay. Thanks, Peter. I think I have three comments on that. The first one's pretty straightforward. Give it a try. As Naguib mentioned, it's a low-risk and cost-effective approach. My second point is that the engagement of Career Edge organizations is very beneficial. They have pre-screened the candidates. They flexibly help host employers throughout the process to almost any degree desired by the host employer. So they can be fully hands-off, they can be fully hands-on, or they can be anything in between. And then my last point stems from our business clients. Some of them come back and ask, well, do they have a say in who the intern is that they get? I suppose the concern there is that somebody might just show up one day and they take what they get, and that's not at all true. Except that you have the additional support of an experienced organization such as Career Edge. The process basically aligns to the existing hiring practices. You review resumes, you decide who you want to meet, you decide who you want to make an offer to. So in response to that question, host employers have full say.
Perfect.
And I'll add to that, so the questions about advice that we would give employers who are ready to participate in such programs. What I'll draw on is the very basic model. It's the building blocks of internship, as we call it. It's been successful since 1996, and there are really four things that are required that if they're adhered to, this will be successful. One is the coaching and mentoring part, welcoming newcomers and providing them with the opportunity to develop those soft skills, like Miriam was talking about, in a new country and a work culture. Number two is on-the-job training, providing the interns with the information, the resources required to get their job done. It's also about knowledge transfer, opening communication channels and allowing these interns to learn from their peers, and finally networking opportunities, allowing the interns to grow professional networks in Canada. The reason this program is successful is not because it's just the name of an organization on somebody's resume where they can say we worked there. It's those building blocks, the coaching, mentoring, on-the-job training, knowledge transfer, and networking opportunities that really make a difference and lead us to the success that we've all talked about on today's webinar.
Miriam, anything you might want to add to what's been said before?
Almost everything is covered. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Thank you. I must say this has been a fantastic overview and a really great collaborative kind of effort between the various companies involved. I must say it is remarkably commendable that several organizations like this have come up with a unique and such an innovative partnership that helps the larger business clientele of a large bank here in the GTA. I think it's a model that's worth replicating in other places as well. Naguib, you just a brief word. You mentioned that because our audience is from across Canada, how can they access some of the talent that Career Edge has?
Well, certainly many of the agencies across the country. The people that we help are also working with some of the agencies across the country. At the end of the day, as I said, immigrants, and you've got a map up, Peter, whichever of these doors they come in through are willing to move somebody with a strong background in engineering, in oil fields, regardless of whether they've walked in, probably are best suited to end up in Alberta. And so, it's about keeping an open mind and talking to as many of these immigration agencies and ourselves across the country. We partner with one another. We do not compete with one another. A lot of the organizations that help immigrants are government funded. Whether the new Canadian gets a job directly through them or through Career Edge matters not in terms of funding. As long as they get a job, then we are all happy because we're all aiming to do the same thing. So there we go.
Okay, very good. Thank you. So, like Naguib said, I'll just echo the fact that, there's no one way to get to this talent. You could contact your local agency as well, or you could connect with Career Edge to see if they have folks who are willing to move to your locality as well. And like Naguib had said earlier, this is among the most mobile talent that we see in Canada today. People are willing to indeed take a chance and move to a place where their skills and qualifications are recognized and they can get a good opportunity. So there's also a list of local resources that you could download in case you're interested in tapping into some of the international talent available in your respective regions. Just a reminder that we will shortly open the Q&A portion of the webinar, so please have your questions ready and we can get that. But just before we get there, we are going to hear from Nadia Samji, who's an intern with WWF in Canada. And Nadia took the challenge of moving to Canada in 2012. She's got over 7 years of marketing experience in consumer goods and financial institutions, and she's acquired skills in brand management and has developed and executed several marketing projects. In her current role at WWF, she has led the project of National Sweater Day, encouraging Canadians to take action against climate change. This internship with WWF has given her the opportunity to work in a North American environment and gain relevant experience. And she's not only worked with the national team at WWF, but also with their international team as well. She has an MBA from the Institute of Business Management in Pakistan and is currently studying at York University. So Nadia is going to tell us just very briefly about her experience, what she's learned, and how this idea of internships has made a huge difference to her. Nadia, over to you.
Thank you, Peter. Good afternoon, everyone. It's been a very interesting webinar, and I'm so glad that I'm part of it. When I was immigrating to Canada, I knew about the phenomena which every immigrant has to go through: lack of Canadian experience, not getting work or not getting opportunities in the relevant field. So before even I moved here, I was looking for areas that I can work here, and I came to know about Sorry?
Yeah, go ahead. We can hear you, Nadia.
Okay, so I came to know about Career Edge paid internships that they give new immigrants an opportunity to come and gain experience in their own relevant area, provided if they qualify as per their eligibility criteria. So I joined Career Edge program, and then I had an opportunity to get an internship at WWF. The WWF internship gave me an experience of how North American marketing industry is all about. What are the important marketing criteria or marketing agencies, or how this system work here. It also gives me an opportunity to build professional network. Now I know people not only from my own organizations, but also third-party people. We work with agencies, we work with promotional specialists, and different other bodies who we partner with, like Accenture and ICLEI. It was a great experience working on National Sweater Day and Earth Hour City Challenge. So I worked with a lot of municipalities in Canada overall, and I came to know about a lot of provinces and territories that I never thought of. In addition, my coach actually helped me a lot in settling down in Canada. She not only helped me professionally, but she also helped me personally develop my social skills, my communication skills. She would explain if there's any event happening in Toronto, she would tell me, and she would say, try it out, you would have fun. It's one of our cultural experience, and you would enjoy. So overall, it has been a very rewarding and a very exciting experience. And I'm really liking the work industry here.
Oh, terrific. That's so great to hear. And it's always gratifying to hear from folks who are benefiting from these various programs. Thank you, Nadia, for sharing your story. I'll just, kick things off with a question for our panelists. And you have alluded to some of this in your remarks earlier, but given the reciprocal nature of internships, where it's intended to be a win-win, how does one ensure that there are common expectations from both the employer's perspective and the intern's perspective? In other words, Naguib, maybe kick us off on how can an employer be a good host organization?
Well, the conversations, from the very first day we start speaking to employers are very clear in terms of how our model works. I think, Peter, it goes back to the very last question I answered, which was what advice do I have for employers? And that was really about if we adhere to the model where the employer agrees that they will find a coach or a mentor for the intern. That intern will receive on-the-job training. They will do their best to open communication channels to allow interns to learn from their peers through knowledge transfer, and they will also open their networking opportunities so the intern can grow professional networks across the country. Then everything will work and it'll be a success. Either it'll be a success and that employer will end up hiring the intern, or it'll be a success because they'll have played a major role in helping launch that career.
Mark, anything you might add, or Miriam?
I can say the pool of the candidates are increasing. So from my last hiring in Career Edge, I had only few qualified. Now there are so many, and it's just it's getting better. It keeps getting better.
Okay. We have. What about the role of government? Given that we have folks from government on the webinar today, how can government help to expand internships for internationally trained professionals? Given that all levels of government now recognize that it's important for newcomers to have meaningful connections with employers in their field, what do you think are some things that government can do to help scale up or expand internships across the country? Anybody want to take a crack at that?
Sure, I'll take a crack. It's Naguib. There are two things, and certainly our partners in government are doing that. I mentioned the Ontario Public Service, one of our strongest and longest-standing partners. They have hired over 700 interns in the history of our relationship with them. The vast majority, I'm not going to say all, but I would say 99% of those have been internationally qualified professionals. The retention levels are huge in terms of our relationship with the government, or they help launch those careers in the private sector. So governments can do two things. One is to hire people themselves to practice what they preach, so to speak, in terms of welcoming Canadians to municipalities, provinces, or our country at all levels of government. The other one, of course, and this is going to sound very cliche, but is very much true, is funding. So that and we're beginning to see some of that, programs that help organizations through subsidies fund internships. So those are the two ways governments can help. One is to hire more people themselves, and number two is to help with the funding through subsidies, tax breaks, etc., to help employers, organizations in all sectors hire more interns.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, we have a question from Anna. She asks, could you touch upon the use of mentors in the program? Are they all from within the companies where interns are placed, or are they outside mentors? And what is their role?
Basically, the mentor, and again, I'll let others jump in, especially Nadia, who's had one. The mentors are within. The mentors are very much usually the person's manager, the person that the intern is reporting to. That is the person that is most able to coach and guide and provide the opportunity for feedback to the intern. Nadia?
Yes, my coach or my mentor is my supervisor, and she's very great. Like I said, apart from all the professional advice, she also gives me personal advice and how I can best fit in the Canadian system. And it's very important that I have a very open communication between us, so that it's easier for me to talk to her and it's easier for her to give me suggestions as to how I can improve, or what skills, knowledge, and abilities would help me get better job opportunity later in my life, or how I can progress in my career.
Okay.
And what's very heartwarming and what we've seen over the history of our organization is that many interns eventually become hiring managers and mentors themselves. So it is a circle of being helped and then giving back.
Yeah, that's a great point, Nagib. Good point. I have another question from Ashish, who asks, do the internships help the entry-level career opportunities, or do they aid entry into mid or higher managerial level jobs? Are there any success stories in this regard? Maybe Nagib, that might be more directed to you. And Mark and Miriam, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Early in the presentation, I alluded to the fact that Career Edge was born really not to help recent Canadians at the time, but to help youth, underemployed and unemployed recent grads. So I'm going to generalize here, but generally speaking, we have typical internship positions that are entry-level and mid-level. And for recent grads, so those are Canadians who have graduated from Canadian colleges and universities, their catch-22 is they have no job experience, and therefore they can't get a job. They tend to end up in entry-level positions. Whereas with new Canadians, we look much more, almost exclusively, but certainly much more at mid-level positions. Because as I mentioned earlier, these are folks who have arrived with 3+ years of experience, generally much higher, 10, 15 years, multi-degreed, and an amazing skill set. And so they are walking into mid-level positions. They are really ready on the first day to deliver and to start working and producing. Their barrier is the catch-22 as well as the cultural experience that they need.
Yeah. Anything the others want to add to that? I have a related question for Nagib, and maybe the others can think about this and respond a little later, but this question comes from Jesse, who writes, I understand that Career Edge has unified their database of new graduates, people with disabilities and internationally qualified persons. Does that mean that they are all competing for the same jobs? What percentage of each category tend to be successful? I wonder if you have...
Right. So we've made those changes about a year ago, and we did that based on feedback from our employers as well as our registrants. Basically, from an employer's point of view, and it varies from employer to employer, it's all about best talent. And the employer, based on their job description and their criteria, can go fishing, so to speak, in one of the three pools or in all three. And by the same token, registrants can apply to jobs, but they have to look at the criteria for the job, the qualifications, and make a decision. So if one of our host employers posts a job where they're looking for somebody with 3 to 5 years experience, a certain master's degree, then clearly our recent grads and our recent grads with disabilities will not be looking at those jobs, whereas our newly arrived recent Canadians will be. It really depends on the employer and the job and the opportunity. At times, all three will compete. At times, it'll be very evident that only one of those three pools is what the employer is seeking, and that's how it works.
Yeah. Okay, this next question is also about the types of jobs, and I'd like to bring in Mark and Miriam if possible on this, just to get their take on it. The question that Dominic asks is, from which immigration stream are candidates for this program? Are they usually highly skilled immigrants, or do they come from another stream? And does that matter, I think, at the end of the day? Mark and Miriam, and I guess Nagib would be best placed to answer this as well.
So, Peter, I'll just jump in.
Sure.
And actually, before answering that, I'd just like to jump back to Ashish's question about is it entry level or is it mid-level? And that's one of the great things about the program that was called Career Bridge at Career Edge, about the IQPs. They're intended to take people who are experienced and educated and put them in relevant and appropriate roles here in Canada. So if somebody was a mid-level somewhere else in the world and they come here, you know, I guess it's better than not being able to land a job at all, but to have to start over from scratch at an entry level is, you know, that'd be quite devastating, I would think. And so the desire and the intent is to put them in roles that are relevant to their experience and their education. In terms of the roles, I know that the Career Edge pool is broad. I do have a list of the types of roles that are there, and, you know, in broad functional areas, they range from, say, 15% down to 5%-ish. They cover a whole variety of needs. So we've had a lot of success with our clients that we've been able to refer to Career Edge organization and their ability to find a candidate that's relevant to them.
Okay, very good. Naguib, anything you might add about the streams of immigration through which folks come in, or is that part of your screening criteria?
No, it's part of the screening criteria that I explained earlier. No, I think we've covered it. I mean, what we currently don't do are the skilled trades. We're talking about internationally qualified professionals, so much more the white collar stream, so to speak.
Yeah. Okay. Well, here's a question that's kind of broader, and maybe Mark and Miriam can take a first crack at this, but do employers consider internships as Canadian work experience? Does Canadian volunteering experience count as working experience when you're thinking about candidates to hire?
If it was a paid internship, that means they had kind of a responsibility. So yes, but for the regular volunteer, we kind of have a doubt. Did they really just deliver coffee, or they had work?
Yeah, good point. Mark, anything you might want to add to that?
Well, I would say that experience is experience. You know, this program is designed to get them that official experience with an official reference. I think volunteering is great. If the question relates to does that then disqualify them from entering into the IQP stream of Career Edge, I'm pretty sure the answer to that is no. And even volunteer experience can be verified. So I think any experience is great.
Okay. Good. So I think we're coming towards the end out of our webinar. Maybe we can just end with what would be some next steps for the Career Edge RBC Associate Host Program? Are you making it bigger? Are you looking to reach to different sectors? Are you expanding the scope in any way? What are some next steps so that our audience has a sense of what's going to happen next as well?
So is that specifically in the RBC?
Sure, and for Career Edge as well.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll go first. I personally would love for us to expand this program. We launched it 3 years ago on a pilot basis in the Greater Toronto region. We chose that region because it aligns with the core footprint of Career Edge organization, and notwithstanding they do expand beyond just that region. It's also the depth of their candidate base. As with everything that we do, we review our programs on an annual basis. We see what's working, we see what's not, we adjust as necessary. I'd love for us to expand this. Can I pull a rabbit out of a hat right now? No, but we're always looking for the new opportunities to make it even better.
And from Career Edge's point of view, I mean, we certainly build on success, and other than completely agreeing with everything Mark has just said, it's also about looking to possibly replicate or use this as a model for other organizations in all sectors who have a client base of their own, a network of their own, constituents of their own, where they can help, where they can sponsor, subsidize, and at the very least where they can help us increase awareness, not just to their own hiring managers and human resources folks, but also outside of their own walls to those who deal with the organization, whatever sector and field they may be in.
So Peter and Naguib, I have to chime back in then because I wholeheartedly agree. As I mentioned before, for RBC, this program is a competitive differentiator. But I would suggest that the best outcome of this webinar would be if another large organization was to copy it. And as Peter said at the beginning, it would be great if someone was to take this type of initiative from one part of the country to another. This program is impactful and great, and it's a win-win-win-win-win, as Naguib said in his opening comments.
Terrific, and that's just the best way for us to end. I couldn't think of a better way to end this webinar. Unfortunately, we're out of time. I want to take this opportunity to really thank our panelists for being so forthright, for being frank, for being honest about the program, and to share the impact that it's had on so many people and organizations and how they're benefiting through this program. Thank you to our audience for joining us today. This webinar has been recorded and will be available shortly along with all the past webinars on hireimmigrants.ca. Check it out sometime soon. Also sign up for our e-tips to receive practical tips for employers and event notices about our next webinars and so on. Finally, please take a moment to fill out our survey. Tell us what you thought of this webinar and what topics you would like us to cover in the future webinars series as well. The survey will appear on your screen momentarily. There it is. We look forward to having you join us next time. Again, a big thank you to our panelists. Really appreciate your time and your expertise in sharing this with us. Enjoy the rest of your day, folks. Thanks. Bye-bye.